All right, this is the last part of your percent math lesson, where we're going to be changing decimals to percents and percents back to decimals. So first, these ones are quite easy. Percents to decimals to percents, you're multiplying by 100. So all you got to do, that's all you have to remember. When I look at a decimal and change it to a percent, I'm going to times by 100. So I've got 0.53, or 53 hundredths. I times that by 100, so I move my decimal 2 spots to the right, and that will be my percent. So when you're working with fractions, decimals, and percents, you will be timesing and dividing by 100 very often. When you're doing that, please remember, you're moving 2 spots because there's 2 zeros. This is just like powers of 10 that we did way back in like October. Moving two decimal spots because you have 2 zeros. You're timesing, so you're moving to the right to make it bigger. Just think about it that way. If you're multiplying something, you're making it bigger. So that means I'm taking my decimal to make this number bigger, to the right, by 2 spots, 1, 2. So 0.53 turns into 53.0. Now you think about this, do I need the 0.0? No, I don't. There's nothing that comes after that decimal, so I am free to not have to write the decimal down, just put my percent sign. 0.53 times it by 100 to get 53%. So think about it this way, whatever you've got for your tenths and your hundredths, that's your percentage. So I have 53 hundredths, so I have 53%. This is the hundredths column. Your hundredths column, we're dealing with a percent, so that's still 100. So they're all interconnected that way. All right, let's take a look at this one, example number 2. I have 0.2, or 2 tenths. I still have to times by 100. So I take that decimal and I move it 2 spots to the right to make this bigger. Now when I have an empty spot, what do I have to put in there? I have to put a 0 in there. So I don't have 2, I have 20. So you write your 20.0, which is where you moved that decimal over. But I don't need to include the 0.0 because there's nothing that comes after that decimal. So I'm good to just put my percent sign. All right, the last example here, I have 1 and 48 thousandths. Now this is fine. Keep in mind all you need to do is times by 100, and you'll find easily your percentage, no matter what the numbers are. So I take my decimal and I move it 1, 2 spots to the right to make this bigger. And now I have 104 and 8 tenths. So I need to write that whole number down. I have to keep the decimal this time because there is something that comes after the decimal. So 104.8%. Yes, that's a bigger number. Yes, it still has a decimal in it. That's okay. It's still a percentage. You did the thing you were supposed to do, timesing by 100 to find the percent. All right, let's do the opposite now. I'm going to change a percent, excuse me, to, oh, that's too far. To a decimal. Now, when you're working the other way, you're dividing. So you're doing the opposite. You're going from percent to decimal, so you're going to do the opposite. You're not going to multiply this time, you're going to divide. Divide by 100. Now, remember powers of 10, you're not going to do an outside calculation. You're going to move decimals. That's what you do when you're working with powers of 10. So, divide by 100. First of all, here's my 42%. Where will I put that decimal? If there's no decimal to be found, it goes at the back of the number. Now, if I'm dividing by 100, I move that decimal 2 spots to the left to make it smaller. Don't forget, if you're dividing, you're going to go to the left to make the number smaller. I had 42, and now I have 0.42. Whenever you're moving those decimals, and you move the decimal now in front of the 4, but there's nothing over here, don't forget you need to put a 0 over there. All right, so 42% is 0.42, or 42 hundredths. Same goes with the 3. The next example here, I'm going to divide by 100. I put the decimal in where it's supposed to go at the back if there is no decimal already. And I move 2 spots to the left. And now my decimal is going to be over there. So I've got an empty spot. I have to put a 0. And then I have another empty spot over here. I need to put a 0. So my 3% turns into 0.03. Or 3 hundredths. All right, last example, 289%. I am still going to divide by 100. I am still going to put my decimal at the back if I don't already have one. And I'm still going to move 2 spots. So now I have 289 hundredths. I used to have 289%, but I'm only moving 2 spots. So the decimal is still going to be 2.89. I moved the decimal 2 spots over to the left to make it smaller. So I have 289 hundredths. And that is how you change percents to decimals. If you have any questions at all, please get in touch. I'm not going to do another math lesson until I do some examples from each of the pages for these things first. So if you take a look at that math pack, you'll notice it's a lot of working with percents and decimals and fractions until we get to using percentages, and that's going to be later on. So anyway, keep trying, keep working hard, and good luck.